Well, it looks like Star Wars Outlaws is in really big trouble with a projection of nearly 50% lower than Ubisoft was hoping for. And now they're going to be absolutely desperate for something that they make to be a big winner. And it doesn't look like anything like that is on the horizon. Let's talk about it on That Game Plays. Hi, folks, it's CC here again with the master of mischief and early in the morning. It's my friend Loki. How you doing, Loki?
Doing great. I am basking in the light of the fireworks warehouse exploding and Ubisoft saying there's nothing to see here. Everything is normal. Go about your business. This is great.
It is wild. But we're going to jump right into the story because while I could say a lot more about what's happening, I think it's more important to read about it with the facts. And this is an article backed up by also the Financial Times, although this outlet's a little different. This is Tech for Gamers. But look, this is a fresh article, folks. As of the time you're seeing this, this is only a day old news, right? So Star Wars Outlaws sales forecast looks grim, analysts conclude. That's right. An estimated sales have fallen by 3 million copies. It's nearly half. But let's look into the story highlights real quick, Loki, and then we'll start talking about this. Ubisoft sales forecast for Star Wars Outlaws has been significantly lowered. Analysts predict sales of only 5 million copies, down from 8 million, so that's a considerable chunk. The company hopes that Assassin's Creed Shadows will compensate for any sales shortfall while you keep dreaming. And let's jump into, well, you know what? Let me ask you first and foremost, Loki. How does that hit you so far? Do you feel bad for Ubisoft?
No, not at all. And they just had a meeting with their investors where they were asked, what do you think this is going to do? And Cultures, we reported right here, they said they were going to leverage that Ubisoft engine and that it was the most beautiful game ever made, and that their investors would be making back at least what they've made on their last few releases, which I see they can't do.
Yeah, I think that's an astute observation, and it is kind of flying in the face of their expectations. I bet their investors were thinking more highly of it. But according to the article here, Ubisoft's upcoming AAA title, which I disagree, Star Wars Outlaws, was supposed to be a big success. However, the company's latest sales forecast predicts a much tougher outcome. Ubisoft originally targeted 718 million in bookings for the second quarter, but the estimate has now been lowered to 553 million. That's not good, Loki. If they're only booking 5 million of 8 million copies and they're only bringing in $553 million, that's not going to right the ship for them, is it?
No, it's not. It's not even going to pull them out of the negative they already were in from last year.
Yeah, and that's a pretty deep hole. Now, why it matters, of course, is a great way to approach this because analysts at Financial Times conclude that Ubisoft desperately needs Star Wars Outlaws to hit big. But the game's non-existent hype paints a concerning picture for the French company. Non-existent hype is kind of a kind way to say nobody was interested in this game and the feedback from the fans wasn't positive. Am I reading the room right correctly here, Loki?
You absolutely are. It's about as bad as that picture up there of the main character Culture. What they did to her. If you've seen the actress, she's an absolutely beautiful woman. They dogged her down. They gave her an ugly face, and unfortunately, the whole game is kind of ugly like that. I don't
It's
know
a
what is over there in the Kool-Aid, but they're drinking it, Culture.
Well, let me tell you, that's a very strange facial structure for a woman compared to the model that they used for this. I am quite surprised, but we'll dive further in now. The analysts have lowered their expectations for Star Wars Outlaws, now forecasting sales of 5 million copies this quarter, down from the estimated 8 million. I don't think once people get their hands on this game, fairly broadly, people like Jonas J. Campbell, who's playing it in real time and is showing everybody just how not spectacular it is. I think that's the right takeaway. But the gloomy forecast is troubling for Ubisoft, which has already been struggling, as you just pointed out, Loki. A sharp 18.1% drop in total revenues and reported net losses of 546 million compared to 113 million profit the year before. This situation about Ubisoft's business strategy is concerning, particularly its focus on the popular but crowded open world and live service game models. the success of Star Wars Outlaws is extremely important for Ubisoft, but early reviews indicate it might not be the big hit that the company needs. Now, Loki, refresh my memory. What kind of reviews have you been seeing of this game?
Buggy, terrible. You've seen content creators playing it, land speeders going through the ground, people's skin coming off the character, not being able to engage someone, constant problems with the battle system, with the stealth system, stormtroopers shooting at walls. It's got a lot of problems. And you would think, considering they touted this as it's gone gold months ago, it's ready to ship now, we're just waiting on the release date. I'm starting to question, did you do anything from the point where you said it had gone gold to release it? Because usually your people are playtesting and working and patching to the last minute before release. Did you just not do that, Ubisoft? Did you just go, oh, it's ready and ship it, and not think there was going to be a million problems with it? I don't know. Those are questions I want to ask at their next financial meeting.
Yeah, and it's actually, you could get in there really easily. Their stock is incredibly low. It's been going down over the course of the last 5 years as their games have been losing favor among fans. And of course, this game is incredibly expensive with that Star Wars license. I think they were charging, what, $120 for the Ultimate Edition?
120 and I think 120, 90, and 70, I think were the three
Wow,
prices you could
that's
pay.
insane. But look, we'll get back into the reviews here. That although the game has received mostly positive feedback from who, I would ask, critics have said it doesn't bring anything new to the table. It's seen as perfectly fine, but not exceptional, which might not be enough to turn things around for Ubisoft. No kidding. Um, Ubisoft hopes that its upcoming game, Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is going to be a disaster as well, will compensate for any sales shortfall. However, there are already concerns about this new title, especially the controversy surrounding the samurai protagonist, Yasuke. Hey, Stone Loki, have you heard about this controversy with Yasuke?
There's been a lot of drama culture coming out of Ubisoft lately, and you would think that with how much they need to sell their games, they wouldn't be pushing for all the things they're pushing for. But unfortunately, or well, fortunately for us, they are. The problem with Yasuke, and he was an authentic samurai, and all the things Ubisoft claims seem to be getting knocked down like dominoes the closer this game comes to release. Plus the fight back from people that believe all of what Ubisoft is doing is true. Yeah, I totally see that.
Well, a divisive game with gamers on one side and a group of adherent sycophants on the other. It's not going to be a big win. And if you want to see more on Yasuke's struggles, well, you can check them out. We've got a playlist right up there. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Shadows will sell at least 13 and a half, or excuse me, will need to sell at least 13.5 million copies to make up for the losses. Although Assassin's Creed Valhalla sold 13 million copies, matching that success might be tough. I know for a fact you played Valhalla. I think I've seen you playing Valhalla. Do you want to tell me, there were shortcomings in Valhalla?
That has to be the worst, one of the worst Assassin's Creed games. I absolutely didn't like it. I never finished it. I played a couple of hours and it was exhausting. It doesn't have the same stealth system that a lot of the previous games have. I think my favorite's always going to be Black Flag, and I'll leave it at that. But it seems like the more Ubisoft has gone into this, we want to do these online multi-service. We want to sell you things, even though you're playing a single-player game mode. Things have gotten worse and worse. It's more like an MMO than ever before. So I don't see them increasing that. In fact, I think it's going to be a lot less.
I'm with you, and in fact, I'm with you 100% because I think that the live service stuff is a real disaster for anybody who dives into it for monetization, and that was really the whole scheme behind the live service model for the Assassin's Creed, which is not what the fans actually wanted from that game. But you top that off with the fact that you just told me that the game Valhalla wasn't nearly as good as previous offerings. It only sold 13 million copies. I have a feeling and correct me if I'm wrong, Loki, they will sell far fewer copies of this broken-looking next Assassin's Creed Shadows. What do you think about that statement?
I absolutely agree with that. I think it's going in 12. People are starting to wake up to the fact that they care more about their politics and the BS they're putting out than their actual games. So when you care about your ideologies and you care about your message more than you care about the game you're making, things tend to go south. That's just the way it works. People want to play games, they want to have fun time, they want to enjoy, they want their money to be well spent. And if they know it's not going to be well spent with Ubisoft, well, you can pretty much guarantee that that's going to be a giveaway in a console. They'll be giving away copies of this game and getting very little in return for it, because I don't see it flying off the store shelves like previous titles.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about that, and we've talked about it before on other videos, Loki, but I think that this could be a launch with service game within a month of its release, which means that it's going to go to, well, Game Pass and similar, locations like, well, Ubisoft's own product, right? Where their monthly subscription fee
It'll
or
be there
whatever that thing's
immediately.
cost.
So it'll be
Whoa.
there immediately. If you have Ubisoft Plus, ladies and gentlemen, you could have got Star Wars 3 days early. You could get this 3 days early. And I wonder if they are counting that or not in these numbers now that I think about it. Because you can get an idea of who's all playing. But if the person only spent $20 for 1 month of Ubisoft Plus and then canceled it and they're not playing it anymore, that means they only made $20 off a sale. That means they
Yeah,
didn't make 70, 90, or
I
120.
and that's what I'm afraid of, right? Is now people are going to like only sign up for a month at a time for these services and knock these studios down a peg or two. You want to charge 70, 90, $120 for a game. You better be really good, or else people are going to start to take whatever discount is available to them. And let me tell you, with these last few Assassin's Creed games, you could have solved them in under 3 weeks, and that would have been, enough for most gamers. So I mean, you're only getting somebody 1 month at a time. But finally, just wanted to wrap this up real quick, Loki, and then get to our final thoughts. But Ubisoft's annual revenue target is 2.46 billion euro. That's definitely at risk, according to the article. The company could face more setbacks if its new releases don't meet expectations. Well, this one won't, and I don't think this new Assassin's Creed will. And I have a feeling people are stepping away from Rainbow Six. I have a feeling they're going to continue to step away from all of these titles that Ubisoft has now decided to put the messaging into. Ubisoft, of course, is in a tough spot, and if Star Wars Outlaws doesn't perform well, it could seriously impact the company's finances. If future games don't improve the situation, Ubisoft might need to reconsider its strategy for developing its quadruple A titles. Loki, have you ever seen a quadruple A game?
Nope. Never in a million years. Culture, a quadruple A game would need to be out of the box at 10 and look absolutely beautiful and be record breaking, all new tech, things we'd never seen before. That's what a 4A game would be if we got it. Anybody who says otherwise is just blowing smoke.
And I'm with you with that one. Well, folks, that's where we're at. Where are you at? What do you think we should expect out of the Star Wars Outlaws game? Is it going to completely fail? Is it going to flop even harder than is being indicated in this article? Do you think it'll sell 5 million copies this quarter? Are you going to be one of those copies? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Also, you can throw in your 2 cents, of course, your thoughts about the upcoming Assassin's Creed game, since I think that may be the last stand for Ubisoft when it comes to, well, finishing these games with a whole lot of political agenda. On that note, let's end the video the same way we always do, and just wish you game on!